Om 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 Shri Sai Ram. A very warm good evening and a welcome to all of you who have joined us on this February 2025's Region 10 Inspirational Channel. As you remember, last month we started on Swami's first core value, Sathya, truth, and we heard a brother from Boston speak on that topic. So we will continue on that topic for this month and the next. As I was thinking about who I can reach out to expound further on truth, that is that which is Swami himself, his personification of truth, Swami led me to not just one, but two very ardent devotees of his. The first one that I'm going to introduce is Sister Piraba Swaminathan. She is currently serving as the Regional Devotional Coordinator in Region 2. She's part of the Fairfax Center in Virginia, where she has had the privilege of being the devotional coordinator as well as the center president. Sister Prabha was born in Sri Lanka and raised in the UK, and she hasn't even traveled to India or seen Swami in person. But ever since Swami has come into her life, she has been seeking it. She's on her quest for truth, and she takes every opportunity he gives her in life to the fullest responsibility that she can do the best for Swami. So I am so happy you're here, Sister Prabha. And in conversation with Sister Prabha will be Sister Shanti Kumar. She is the SSC coordinator in Greater St. Louis Center, which is part of Region 4. And ever since Swami came into her life in 2018, she has been on a quest for truth as well. So, what better evening than for us to listen to these two young ladies, have a conversation, explore through their life experiences and their quest what Swami has taught about truth. This is a quest for Satya. I was asking them actually, when we say quest for Satya, is it quest for truth, quest for Swami, or they are both one and the same? So I am really excited to sit back and listen to both of you share your experiences. Thank you and welcome to our session today.
Thank you, Sister, for those kind words. We offer our humble pranams at the divine lotus feet of our dear Swami. And we stay at his feet and pray that it is he who speaks through each one of us. And it is he who listens through each one of us. And may it be he who gives us the understanding and the realization of the truth. And may it be he who leads us from untruth to truth, from darkness to light, and from death to immortality. Jai Sai Ram.
Hi, Ram, Sister Vijayashri. Thank you so much for introducing us. You added some colors to that introduction, so thank you. Sai Ram Akka, it's so good to go on this journey together with you. So we'll just talk about what we're going to be discussing today, right? So the topic is really quest for Satya, quest for the truth. this is a journey, and hopefully we will be able to address a few things like what is Satya, what does truth mean to us, what has Swami said about what truth is, and then what are the obstacles that are preventing us from practicing or seeking that truth, which is a real things to consider as we go on this journey. And then, of course, we will look for pointers with Swami's guidance to overcome these obstacles. So as we begin this, we are all on this journey together. We are all seekers. So praying to Swami to guide us as we go through this journey together, all of us. So Akka, so shall we start with what is truth? What does Swami mean by truth?
Yes, Prabha. So I'll first start with what most of us refer to truth in the general parlance. On a day-to-day life, when we say truth, we talk about to say things as we see or as we hear. But for Swami, truth means the eternal truth. So eternal means it's the truth today. It was the truth 100 years ago. It would be the truth 1,000 years later. So I might say I'm wearing a blue sari. It's a truth today, but it wasn't a truth yesterday, and it will not be a truth tomorrow. So those are like a day-to-day basic, non-impermanent truth. But what we are going to talk about today is the eternal truth. So Swami says, Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya. So Brahman is the only truth. There is only one, and that one is Brahman. So I like this song that Swami often sings. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Satyam Brahma, Jnanam Brahma, Anantam Brahma. So Satyam is truth. So that feeling of I am, and then the knowledge, the awareness, and the bliss. So these are all, it's all one and the same in my understanding. So in Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna explains, I became all of this. When Arjuna sees the Vishwarupa Darshan, he sees everything in Krishna. He looks up, like all around him, above him, below him. There's no place where Krishna is not. And all his families, his friends, his enemies, even like Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, all the sages from years ago, past, present, future, it's all inside Krishna. So there is only one, and we are all part of that one. And Swami also says, I separated myself from myself to love myself. So when you separate so Swami became all of this. And we are here to love him and then get back to the source. So it's all part of Swami. So Satyam, Sister Vijayasree, to your question, I think Swami is truth. Brahman is truth. We are all truth, except we don't know it yet. So there's only one. Brahman is the only truth. Prabha, do you want to take?
Yeah, so again, you had mentioned that, I separated myself from myself to love myself. So Swami is essentially saying that we are his essence, right? We are created in his name. Also in Sathya Sai Speaks, Volume 12, Swami says, every individual is a spark of the effulgence of God. So pretty much we are the essence of God, effulgence of God. We've come from God himself, right? And he continues to say, this is the truth. This is the entire truth. And this is the only truth. And then Swami also has said that I am God. So are you. The only difference between you and I is that I am aware of it and you're not. But Swami didn't stop right there, right? He has said that I've come here to help you realize who you really are. So that's what the journey is, right? We are God, but Swami says we are God, right? But do we believe we are God? And so the journey that we are going through, whether we are aware of it or not, is that journey towards recognizing that we are God and we are ultimately the same as Sathya. Right? So I really do love this quote of, Swami saying, every individual is a spark of the effulgence of God. And just tiny little analogy is, if you take a drop from the ocean, the characteristics of the drop and the ocean is identical. Right? Each drop might have its different shapes. We all have our shape, different forms, different, we all look different and we have different, all of the personalities and whatnot. But ultimately, we are that one source. And Swami has beautifully said that. And then same thing with another couple of analogies that we can think of as like the clay pot analogy, right, Akka?
Yeah. So Swami always talks about the pot and the clay. So the clay becomes the pot, right? So there is no pot without the clay. There can be clay without the pot. But so clay existed millions of years ago. Pot is a temporary existence of clay. And when the pot breaks, it becomes clay again. So like that, I mean, so even Krishna says that to Arjuna, there was never a time that you were not there. There will never be a time that you and I will not be there in the future. So that Atma has always been there. So that's like the clay. So like it takes different forms and then it merges back. So why is it important to know and practice truth? Right? We know this is a fact. We know, we believe. So why do we need to practice it and know and be it? Swami says the knower of Brahman becomes Brahman. Right? So that's why he has come in the human form. This beautiful human form with this beautiful, lovable character that everyone loves him. And we want to please him. We want to be like him. And we are thinking of him. And he has given us so much material, talks, books to study. And when all these messages seep into our minds, the impurities slowly and surely gets out. We are cleansing, right? This bucket of dirty water, the more you put pure water, the dirty water leaves. And we ultimately become Brahman. So Swami also says for self-realization, there are three requirements. The first is Manushatvam, is human birth. Second is Mumukshatvam, which is a desire for liberation. Third is Mahapurusha Samsayam, so the contact with great people. So we have God himself has come to take us up there. We cannot waste this life. There's another beautiful meaning of Gayatri that Swami says. I recently heard and I have been contemplating on it for the last few months. Swami says, God, who is present everywhere, at all times, and in all places, that pure energy I contemplate on its magnificence and glory, and I shed myself and enter its being. Lord, who is present at all places, at all times, and everywhere, I meditate on its splendor and magnificence, and I shed myself and enter its being. So everything Swami says is for one purpose, to let us merge back into him.
Yeah.
Piraba?
Yeah, I do love it helps us to think about this meaning of knower of Brahman becomes Brahman himself, right? But in order to become the knower of Brahman, that is in itself a journey, right? But the process itself, Swami has also said, right? I created you, but the journey is also because of him, right? So he's also with us. But ultimately, we are already that. I think we've established that, right? We are already that. But the problem is we have not experienced it, or we've experienced it in bits and pieces that is not consistent. So we haven't really truly experienced him to be saying that, you know, I've merged with Swami while being in this physical form, right? So there's the story from Mundaka Upanishads. You may have heard of it. So the story goes like this. There is a tree, and on that tree, there are two birds. One bird is sitting right at the tip of the tree, and the other bird is in the lower branches. The bird that's sitting right at the top is calm, quiet, not moving, so radiant, just very brilliant, bright bird. The bird in the lower branch is busy, 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 busy. So busy jumping from one branch to the other branch to the other branch, searching for things, particularly for sweet fruits. So you will go and peck at a fruit and it will taste so sweet. It's like, I want more, I want more. And it will jump from branch to branch to branch, looking for that sweet fruit. Once in a while, this bird will come across fruit that is a little bitter. Like, but you know what? There are sweet fruits out there, so we'll go in search of that sweet fruit. The bird at the top, however, is sitting there calmly, quietly, just observing. One day, this bird at the lower branches was pecking at all the fruits, and one of the fruit was particularly bad. It was bitter. It was like, oh, that was terrible, and then just looks up. And it notices the bird at the top. And it notices that bird is so calm and just radiant brilliance. And there was some attraction towards it. I wonder what that bird is doing up there. The curiosity begins, and the bird starts to hop up a couple of branches. And as it goes up a couple of branches, it then sees the beautiful bunch of fruits. And it's like, oh my goodness, that fruit might be sweet, and goes for that fruit. And yes, the fruit is very sweet. So then it gets all caught up in it, pecking from fruit to fruit to fruit, having some bitter, some sweet, until one time the fruit is so bitter, so really badly bitter, that it's disgusted by it and looks up and sees that bird again sitting there patiently, just watching. His curiosity builds and goes up and up the branch. And as it goes up to the top, closer and closer to that bird, something amazing happens. The attraction from that bird at the top was so strong that this lower bird became more and more curious and became more and more, what became easier for the bird go up and up more towards the top. And as it came close to the bird at the top, it realized, wait, this bird is just like me. I am the same as this bird, right? So this lower bird and the higher bird is really an analogy for our spiritual journey. The tree is our body. The lower bird is Jivatma, and the higher bird is Paramatma. And the fruits are our desires. We can actually relate to this lower bird. We are busy, busy, busy with everything, being attached to everything, being happy and disappointed. I want this, I want that. I like this, so I want more of this. And we get all caught up in that worldly desires that we forget or don't even know that there is a higher being that's just sitting and witnessing, watching what we are up to, right? But then what happens? Something bad happens to us, or something that is just, oh my goodness, why is this happening to me? Or some sort of challenges come our way, and we start seeking, and then see that there is actually something higher. And then we try going towards it, but we get distracted. So the focus of that, having that ultimate goal of that higher self, gets sometimes distracted. So we are kind of getting lost in the world. But as we get closer and closer to Swami, and some days we may feel this, right? Some days we may feel that strong connection to Swami. It's so much easier to shed the desires of the world and become closer to that Atmic, Paramatmic self, right? But again, we do get caught up in our world. Another way of looking at this particular story is, I was just thinking about different angles to it, is that let's say that Paramatma is, of course, within me, and the Jivatma, that is the lower bird, is basically busy doing things. But as human beings, we still have to work. We still have to do our duties. But I think the point here is we still need to do our duties, but not get attached to the outcome of the work that we do, not get attached to the fruits of our actions, right? And still do the duty as an observer from within. And that calm bird, if we can relate to it, will just make everything happen, right? But we still have to do the work without attachment. And the interesting thing is there's a twist to the story. When the lower bird is going higher and higher and higher. Let's say the bird doesn't get to Paramatma, the higher bird, but along the way, the tree dies. What happens? Both the birds then will move on to a different tree and the journey will continue. So while we are in this physical form, is there a way for us to kind of expedite our journey towards Paramatma in the limited time that's been given? It's something to think about. Akka?
Beautiful, Prabha. You know, Swami guides us there too, I think. The story of the birds, I kind of can relate to it. I had been like the lower bird for a long time, caught up in every role that I was playing, as a student, in the professional world, then as a mother. There's always, as you said, it's a busy life, not time to sit and contemplate why we are here. So Swami gives us an opportunity. So in 2018, I lost a child. He was 17 years old, and it just changed my life. When you're so attached to things in the world, and you kind of feel it'll go on forever, and when it slips and you lose it, you start searching for something more permanent, right? And the closer you go, there's more an attraction towards it, and you keep going towards it. So for most people, it's these difficulties that draws them to God. So Swami says these tests are his way. It's his gifts. They are his gifts. Whether it's a loss of a human being or loss of wealth, loss of name, fame, every little ups and downs are Swami's gifts. So Swami says pleasure is an interval between two pains. So life is another word that Swami says, asukam, anityam asukam lokam. So this world is impermanent and it is asukam. It's not a good, it's painful. So Swami gives us joy in between the pain so that we have a rest, right? But then when we get so comfortable and we are chasing that. So, there's another beautiful story. So when we have challenges in life, I think it's really important to look back and appreciate them as Swami's gifts. It might be painful today, but at one day we will know why he did it. Swami never gives us anything in life to break us. Everything is to make us. There's another beautiful story of Mother Meera that I like. So as we know, she went through so many challenges in her life. So one day she was praying to Lord Krishna, yearning, and said, "So, Lord Krishna, why am I not seeing you?" And she was on her balcony and she heard in her inner voice Lord Krishna saying, "Look up." And she looks up. There's like this big dark cloud. And Krishna says, "Meera, you can't see me because of this dark cloud." And she's like, "What is it?" And she said, "It's all the vasanas that we have collected through our lives." So she's just heartbroken. "So will I never see you?" And Krishna says, "Don't worry, Meera, I'll take care of it." So a few days, months, months go by, and she's going through still a lot of personal pain. And then this unbelievable infamy, just blame of things that she never even did. And she's so heartbroken, and she goes to the balcony again and says, "Lord Krishna, why are you doing this to me?" And he says, "Look up, Meera." And she looks up. Part of the dark clouds have been cleared. So she realizes these are things Krishna is helping me. Right? So if we want to seek the truth, we should be able to take both pleasure and pain as his prasadam. It's good for us. Right? This all-powerful, all-knowing, omniscient, all-loving Swami is giving us something. It's only because it's good for us. Swami once said to a student, "I'm not the mother of your body. I'm the mother of your soul." So he does what's best for our soul, or the merger of our soul.
Akka, thank you for sharing both those beautiful stories. Difficulties will come. And when the difficulties, just like the bird, right? It eats a very sour, bitter fruit and then says, "What is going on?" And then looks up. Why is it that no, it's not all the time, but why, in most cases, why is it that difficult situation has to come before we can even recognize that there's divinity or there's something higher above us, right? What is stopping us from seeing the Paramatma or being connected to Swami continuously? And why are we waiting for difficult times?
I think we don't know what it is like. Swami talks about two words. One is Shreyas and the other is Prayas. So Prayas is something that gives us immediate pleasure. Shreyas is something that gives us eternal pleasure. So it's like you have an exam tomorrow. You have a choice of studying today or watching a football game, which you have been looking forward to. So what gives you joy this moment is to watch that football game. But if you sacrifice that and study and do well in your exam, that will be a more lasting joy, right? So when these low-hanging fruits are dangling in front of us, we don't think of the long-term, the right thing to do. That we forget the Sathya and we get entangled here. And Swami also says, our heart is a single-seated sofa where we can either have God or the world. So if we fill it with world, there's no space for God. Right? So when our interest in the world, at some point, we'll get there. It's a journey. We're all in the journey, right? So it's probably a necessary journey. So God waits for us. When we are so engrossed and enjoying, he waits for us patiently. In Prema Vahini, Swami says, God is like Surya Bhagavan. his light is effulgent. It doesn't pick and choose. It lights everyone. But if we keep our doors closed, he waits patiently outside. As soon as we open the door, he rushes in and lights the door, lights the room. So it's a journey, right? Always. So I think a few things that prevent us from offering this so far to God is our wrong body identification. We think we are this body. And then we think we are this body, there's this egoism, is the body identification. And then we have all these desires for the body and for people who are related to the body, the I and the mind. So when we get the desire, we get greedy. We are not just satisfied and content right there. We want more. And then when we get more, and then we get pride, we are like, oh, there's a sense of pride comes. And then when you don't get it, you're angry. How come I didn't get it? And then someone else gets it, you're jealous. So these are the 6 Arshat Vargas, Swami says. And the mother of all of this is desire. So when we desire for God, I think the desire for the world goes down.
And the desire for God, we need to make it like a full-time devotee, right? We tend to be part-time devotees. I mean, we have desire for God, comes and goes, right? But we do need to have that full-time devotee, that constant yearning, that focus on that higher power, our higher self, and then keep at that journey. And then Swami will actually also open the path for us to go through it.
And Swami says, actually, full-time devotee is easier than part-time devotee. He says full-time devotees always be content with anything that comes. It's like, you do what you need to do, but, whether it's bitter or sweet or tart or whatever that comes in life, you are like that bird on top. You just witness, be contented, be joyful. That's Swami's word of Swami's definition of full-time devotees: equanimity, surrender. Because that not even a blade of grass moves without his will. So anything that comes our way has passed through Swami's approval. So if Swami gives us something, it's good for us. So Prabha, you want to talk about some practical things that we could do to move forward and towards the truth?
Yeah, that's where our focus really should be. So first thing is to be able to lead a moral, dharmic, righteous life, right? Know what's right from wrong. And easiest thing that we can do in the human level for now is at least to speak the truth, right? Starting with speaking the truth, right? And sometimes Swami says, if the truth is going to be painful, then stay silent, right? It is better to stay silent. And sometimes, I do have to say this, that you want to speak it, but it's not going to be pleasant for somebody else to hear. I think Swami reminds us, give it to him. Give the urge to speak to him, and he'll take care, right? Technically, if Swami and I are one, he should take care, right? So anyway, so the first thing is to speak the truth. And the thing that we could practice is, I know Swami says, love all, serve all, help ever, hurt never. But of all of that, I think hurt never would be the first thing that we can easily practice. At least don't hurt anybody before you even try to help somebody, right? There's no point in helping somebody when you're hurting, right? So we want to make sure that we don't hurt anybody. Then help. love all, serve all comes after that. I also like what Swami says about watch, right? Swami says, watch your words, watch your action, watch your thoughts, watch your character, and watch your heart. The hardest part for me is the unity between thoughts, words, and deeds, right? Watching our thoughts, watching our words, and watching our words and our actions. Because, for instance, right, I can speak to you very nicely. Akka, you're wonderful, you know, all of that stuff. You know, I think, you know, I enjoy your company. I'm having a wonderful satsang and all of that. But in my mind, how do you know I'm thinking nicely about you? Right? So I could be thinking something, but my words and my deeds could be very pleasant for outside observation. And I'll tell you an example. Actually, it's Sai 100. You know, we were asked to pick a sadhana. And one of my sadhana was this unity between thoughts, words, and deeds. As soon as you pick a sadhana, Swami will test you. Right. So this is a very simple example, but it made me think about it, is that I was at the grocery store and I was checking out, and the cashier was, you know, passing the stuff to be bagged. And I had bags, I had a lot of stuff, and I was bagging everything. As I was bagging, the person who typically their task is to bag the groceries comes and stands next to me and having a nice full chat with the cashier. They were having a nice full-blown conversation. And there's me still bagging. I'm the one who bagged the entire thing, and that's fine. But my thought went, couldn't she help a little? And, you know, we'll speed things up. I'm bagging a lot. You're just standing and talking. But as I was walking out, I realized I'm the one who bagged the entire time. My thought did not go anywhere. It didn't actually help anybody. Nothing came out of it. So why is it even necessary for me to have that thought? It had no benefit except I had a negative thought, right? So sometimes thoughts just creep up on you. Sometimes some thoughts are not very nice, and you think, oh my goodness, am I capable of thinking about this, right? So sometimes you feel ashamed that you have those thoughts. How do you control our thoughts? Because you want to speak, you want to have unity between thoughts, words, and deeds. And if my deeds and my words are supposed to be good, then my thoughts need to be good.
You know, I don't think we should be too harsh on ourselves. We are still a work in process, and Swami is helping us, right? So at least before the words, Swami says it's head, heart, and hands, right? What comes in the head, before you either utter it or you act on it, you put it through your heart. And your heart told you this is not a kind thought. So that's the first step. So I think you're on the path. And slowly, as you know, if you don't encourage those not so nice thoughts, it'll stop coming. Swami has another sweet story. One of his students, one day, just like, you know, he was just devastated. All these thoughts are coming, and, you know, Swami can read everyone's thoughts, right? So he's like feeling very awkward, and he writes a letter to Swami, you know, I'm getting all these bad thoughts, Swami, what can I do? And Swami calls him for an interview, and he very lovingly asks him, why are you feeling so bad? And it's like, Swami, I feel, you know, all these bad thoughts, and I feel so bad. So Swami like pulls out a handkerchief and says, what is this? He says, the handkerchief, what color is it? It's white. And he says, yes, it's pure, just like you. So the handkerchief is pure, just like you. So you are pure. Don't even doubt it. And then he points to a corner where there's like a red stain. Swami was chewing betel leaves and he had wiped his lips. And he says, what's this? And he says, it's a stain, it's dirty. And Swami says, yeah. So thoughts can be like the stain in the pure, in you. You are pure, but thoughts can appear. So what do you do? So this handkerchief, I'll give it to the dhobi, and he will bring it clean. Now, does he make the handkerchief white? No, the handkerchief was always white. It always will be white. He just removes the stain. So the bad thoughts are things that comes, they are appearances on the pure self. And the student is so like, what do I do, Swami, to get rid of it? Swami said, give it to me. Whenever you get a bad thought, close your eyes and say Sai Ishvara Paramastu, Swami, take this thought and I'll take it. And I'll give you a clean mind. What else can we ask? Right? Swami is holding our hands and giving us step by step. So I think the key is recognize that thought and give it to Swami. And the more and more we connect with him, that energy flow will wash out our impurities.
It's so amazing. Yes. I mean, only Swami can say, give me your impurities.
Mm-hmm.
Give me your bad thoughts. I will replace it with purity. I mean, how much love and this sense of I'm raising you to a higher level, helping us in that journey. Yeah.
Over to you, Prabha. You can go with all more important things that we...
Yes. Did you want to share the shadow story?
I thought we'll skip it for now. There's another story I wanted to say. So this is about, I heard it this morning. So there's this student of Swami who was working for a company in India, and he had this opportunity to travel to Russia to represent his company. There were some big project. It's a tender that he had to present, and several companies were presenting it, and that company in Russia was going to choose one. So this is the first time he's going to leave the country, and he comes to Swami and for his blessings, and Swami blesses him, and he was very happy for this opportunity. And he says, so what will you bring for me when you come back? So the student is like so joyed because Swami never asks anything from anyone. And he says, what do you want, Swami? Tell me anything, I'll get. And Swami says, come the way you went. Bring back your pure self. Just the way you went, come back the same. And he didn't understand what Swami said. And he said, of course, Swami. And so he goes and he does the presentation, and several other vendors, they are all presenting. And that night there was a big party for all the people, company party. So it's like a big extravagant occasion, and alcohol is served, and he doesn't drink. So he's just happily chatting with someone. And this president of the company is talking as a good host, talking to different people. And he comes to him and said, have you had this wine? This is the best wine. And he says, no, sir, I don't drink alcohol. He's like, no, you have to try this. This is so good, and this is the best in here, and we got it especially for you guys. And he's like, no, sir, I don't drink. And he was kind of getting annoyed, and he keeps pushing and pushing. And he politely refuses. And at one point he said, you have come with this tender, and I will be the one choosing. Remember that. It's kind of like a threat. And he said, I'm sorry, sir. I feel that if I consume this, I won't be myself. And he left with a frown. So he was like, there goes my coat, this. But he said, and while he was pushing, he's remembering Swami, what Swami told him. And he said, that's fine. I mean, he's a little disappointed, but he's like, at least I'm glad I stood by what Swami wanted me to do. And he was ready. He thought I've lost it. And the next day it's being announced, and his thing was chosen. And he says, I admire you for standing by your value. and I think I know I can trust you. So it's like standing by that truth. I mean, there are many circumstances when you just do something a little bit, it clears your path. But for Swami, truth is truth. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Sometimes, you get into some difficulties, you just say something and you get out of it easily. But when you resist from that temptation, we will make Swami smile.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. And to continue with continuing with even more things that we can focus on to overcome our barriers, obstacles of going from lower self to higher self. First of all, I think we need, one of the things that we need is sattvic food, right? Swami says, you are what you eat. But eat doesn't mean something that we just consume through our mouths, but also what we hear, what we see. So we want to make sure that everything that we consume through our senses is pure, right? So that's something that we can focus on as well. And Swami also talks about satsang, the importance of good company, right? And actually, for me, study circle is my good company, along with reading Swami's books. But about 10, 12 years ago, when I started my journey, I was at the center, and I used to drop my child off for SSC and just hang out. But hanging out was not an option after a while. They made us go into study circle. I have to be honest, I didn't know what study circle was at that time. For some reason, Swami's grace, I was open to the idea, and I was sitting there and I was listening. In that study circle, the topic was think of God at all times. Come on, how difficult can it be? You just have to think of God all the time. I can do that. So I go home, completely forgets to think of God. And then that Thursday, I remember it was a Thursday, and I was driving back from work, and I was thinking, wait, I didn't think of Swami once. I didn't think of God once. Why is it so difficult? When I go to work, I'm so immersed in work that I forget to think of God. That was just a fleeting thought in my mind. I didn't sit on it. I didn't dwell on it. It didn't even bother me. It was just a thought. Interestingly, the following Sunday study circle topic was work is worship. It's like, wait, did you just listen to my thought? Right? So it was an answer to my question on Thursday came the following Sunday in that study circle. And the work is worship. And they on their own brought up this topic of when you drive to work or when you go to work, we will get immersed in our work, that we will forget to think of God. In fact, we cannot think of God because we are focusing on something intensely. So what we have to do is on our drive there, we say, Swami, I'm going to forget you, maybe, but I'm going to offer everything I do at your lotus feet. You will do it through me. But when I come back, I'll say thank you. Okay, I said, I can do that. And I actually did that. I was like, okay, Swami, you know I'm going to forget you. I'm not even going to try and remember you. But when I come back, I'll say thank you. And I made a conscious effort to say thank you. And that's where the journey began. Like 10 years down the line, now I'm like everywhere I go in my office, like, come on, Swami, let's go. Come on, Swami, let's go here. Come on, let's do this, let's do that. So it's more of a conversation with Swami, but it was a journey. And I have to admit, it was through study circle that all the answers would come. Listening to other people's perspectives and their personal experiences and things like that just opens your eyes to so many of wonderful stories of Swami and his messages. So that's one thing. And also Swami says, be happy, be happy, be happy, be joyful. Right? I think the joyful is easy if you're not attached to the world. So it takes some time for us to get there, to be constantly joyful and to have unwavering faith. Swami says, I'm God. You're God. Only difference is you don't know that you're God. So we have to recognize that what Swami says is truth and believe it and go work towards it, right? So have that intensity of yearning and unwavering faith. And there is a story where there's a guru and a disciple. And the disciple goes to the guru and says, dear Lord, can you tell me what God looks like. Show me God. I want to see God. And he asks like that. And the guru gets him inside the water, and submerges him underwater. And the guru holds his head down underwater for quite a long time. And this disciple is getting all worked up and uncomfortable, feeling like, oh, there's no breath, and starts to agitate and get very uncomfortable and very desperate. At that moment of getting that true desperation, the guru lets him come out of the water. And the disciple says, what are you doing? And the guru asks, what is it that you were thinking about at that moment underwater? And the disciple says, all I could think of was, when am I going to get my next breath? That urgency, that yearning for that breath. And the guru says, that's the kind of yearning you want to have for God. That's the kind of yearning you want to have for God, and you want to have it consistently. We have to practice. And that goes for me too, right? We have to practice with that intention, with that yearning, and then he will show his grace. His grace is already there. We're just opening our buckets upwards to receive it. Right? It's also karma yoga, doing everything without attachment to the fruits. Right? Always being cheerful, always being joyful, equanimous, taking everything as prasad, even during difficult times. Easier said than done, but I think we will get there. We just need to keep practicing. Just like the bird story, the lower bird, if it stays focused on the higher bird, will go up and up and up and up and become one with it. We can't get distracted. We can peck a fruit to eat because we need to do it, but not get greedy and stay there, right? We have to keep moving upwards.
Beautiful, Prabha. You summed it well. You know, just like your sadhana, what I'm trying to do is always be cheerful and contented. So, I mean, kind of watch the inner atmosphere. And when I feel a little agitation, I remind myself of the bird. And I say, oh, this is a drama. Let me hop up to the higher branch and watch it. It's a work in progress, but it kind of works. So Swami says, as we go in spiritual sadhana, I mean, initially we start with, everything that we do, the 9 codes of, Navani, the Bhakti. As we go, Swami says, 70% of our sadhana needs to be self-inquiry, contemplation. So we all need to make the time for silent sitting, meditation, early mornings, and at bedtime. Not just that, we need to carry out the rest of the day in the awareness as we go on doing our tasks in the day. Swami points out a couple of examples, like in the ancient days, women will carry water. They go to a place, different places where the good water is for drinking. So they'll take these pots and fill it up, and they'll put it on their head and they'll walk. So they'll be chatting and talking, but their attention is on the, they don't lose sight of what's up there. So like that, we can do what we want, but on the background, that awareness of God needs to be there. Another beautiful example, which most of us would have experienced, is when you have an infant child crawling and playing. You might be cooking or doing other things, but your attention is always on that child, right? So like that, Swami has given us that capacity to think of him, but we need to practice. Sometimes I think we have to sometimes fake it until we make it, right? Like little steps, the more you do, just like how you said, it used to be very difficult for me to think of Swami always, but now I do the prayer. But more and more, I'm remembering him very often. And, when I get into a difficult situation, when I'm with a patient, I really don't know what's going on. I am remembering him more and more. And he really will guide us when we think of him. It's magical. So this is another quote of Swami's that I really love. Swami says, be a witness and watch Swami's play unfold with equanimity. He says, it's a quote from Sathya Sai Speaks, Volume 10. The play is his. The role is his gift. The lines are written by him. He decides the dress and decoration, the gesture and the tone, the entrance and the exit. You have to act well the part and receive his approbation when the curtain falls. Earn by your efficiency and enthusiasm the right to play higher and higher roles. That is the meaning and purpose of life. What a beautiful quote. The play is his. The script is his. I was just thinking, can we do a short contemplative meditation, a minute or a couple of minutes? So if you don't mind, close your eyes. I'm going to say it is actually Swami's quote. It's actually a letter that he had written. Let us reflect on it and let that message sink deep within us. Assert your Godhead. Assert your Godhead. Fling into utter oblivion, the state of being unaware of what is happening. The little bubbles burst and finds itself the whole ocean. The little bubbles bursts and finds itself the whole ocean. You are whole, the infinite, the all. Jai Sai Ram.
Sai Ramaka, that's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Just to wrap up, just before we wrap up, I want to just touch up on the power of contemplation, power of visualization, what you just mentioned, right? Swami has said, and affirmations actually, contemplation, affirmation, visualization, all that will help us. Swami has said a couple of truths that he himself has said to help us on our spiritual contemplation. Things like, I am the soul, not the body. I am a part of God's energy, right? And in the quote we had read earlier, effulgence, right, of God. So I am part of God's energy. My happiness lies in God, not in the world. My happiness lies in God. God alone is mine. He is my eternal Father, Mother, friend, and Master. I know we have talked about many ways in which we can go higher and higher up that tree. We may have some skill or some toolkits in our own bags that was not mentioned today. But all in all, it's a lot of little things that we could do. But Swami says, all you need to do is choose one and practice it intensely. And here's a quote that I would like to read. Swami says about contemplation. Take one gem of wisdom and contemplate over it, just as the cows graze grass by chewing it finer and finer in each compartment of their stomach. Such contemplation will elevate the mind to sublime heights, enhance love for God, and boost devotional sentiments. That is the power of contemplation. So just choose one and contemplate on it. And I just like that lower bird, it will go up and up and up until it merges with that infinite one, which is our dear Lord Sathya, quest for Sathya, right? So Sathya is already ours. We just need to connect with him. And prayers to Swami to guide us in this quest for truth, every single one of us, and help us to realize it. And we would like to thank all of you for listening. Of course, Sister Vijayashree, thank you so much. And of course, Region 10. And Akka, thank you for coming on this journey with us, for both of us to actually go on this journey together. Very, very grateful. And of course, thank you, Swami. Would you like to add anything before we do a final
I
bhajan?
mean, my gratitude. This last 4 days have been a blissful journey, trying to dig from within what Swami has given us. You know, sometimes we just hear things and it just goes in, and getting it out and ruminating like the cow, it really helps. So we'll end with a bhajan that Swami has taught us that affirms the truth. I am God, God, I am no different from God. I am the infinite supreme, one reality. I am Satchitananda Swarupa. I am Om Tat Sato. I am love. I am truth. I am peace eternally. I am ever pure delight. I am always full and free. Fear and grief can never touch me. I am Om Tat Sato. I am Om Tat Sato. I am God. I am God. I am no different from God. Thank you, Swami. Jai Sai Ram.
Thank you, Swami. Thank you both, Sister Prabha and Sister Shanti. You took us on this beautiful journey for this last hour. The time went by with such beautiful stories, visualizations, and Swami's words themselves. You taught us how we can pick anything that is dear to our heart, that comes easy to us, with fervor and intention. If we try, then we can be on this path towards that goal, the ultimate goal. So I really, really appreciate both of you for coming and sharing your knowledge, your wisdom, your experiences that can benefit all of us who are all in the same journey. Thank you again. We'll say
Thank
Om
you.
Shanti, and then I'll make announcements about our upcoming programs. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you, Swami.
Thank you.
Swami, our prayer to you is to please make us have these satsangs where we all come together and learn about the core values that you wanted us to learn so that we transform ourselves to a higher goal, to reach the ultimate goal of merging with you. This month is an auspicious month. We have the Shivratri coming up, so there will be intensive prayers, bhajans all night even. So we wish you all blissful bhajan sessions. To continue on this topic of truth, we have one more speaker. She will be Janani Krishnaswamy with her very beautiful young family. They will explore as a family what truth means to them and what the Swami's teachings and being Swami's devotees mean in their lives this next month. So I encourage all of you to come join us again at the same time, 8 p.m. on the 5th of March, which is the first Wednesday of the month. And then further throughout the year, we'll be delving into Swami's other core values, Dharma, Shanti, and Prema, as we go along. Look forward to seeing you all again. Thank you for joining tonight. Om Shri Sai Ram.